Welcome to the Sci-Fi Center, the place to be, where comic books and wrestling collide magically. Movies, TV shows, and pop culture we share. Get ready to rock, we're here to take you there. From superheroes to aliens in outer space, we've got the latest news and reviews in our embrace. Turn on your screen, let the neon lights glow. We'll take you back to the 80s. Let's rock and roll. Sci-Fi Center, where the legends come alive. Get ready to geek out, let your imagination fly. We're diving into the past with a touch of modern flair. Sci-Fi Center, the ultimate pop culture lair.
Welcome to the month of October. It's one of my favorite months of the year. We're here in the 80s here in Las Vegas, Nevada. It is that time between the end of summer and the beginning of winter. You got Halloween, you got baseball playoffs. My Dodgers advanced against the Reds. They now face the Phillies. Football's, like I said last night, quarter of the way in. It's just the time of year, and we get our just everything happens, in the month of October, and then it catapults you into the year 2026. So I hope you all are having a good Wednesday. Not too much news happened today. All right, as far as the entertainment world goes, I mean, last couple of Wednesdays we've been talking about, especially these ones that are heading into episodes 7 and 8 of Peacemaker, what we think are going to be the twists as far as Peacemaker goes. Like we were discussing with Brad last night, there are certain things that are going to happen that are not going to be exclusively meaningful to Peacemaker in regards to how they will affect the overall story that's being told in the DCU. So we got a lot of things. I don't think there's any wrong answers in regards to our predictions, because we're dealing with a crazy man. James Gunn is a comic book nerd. He's a crazy man. Who's unpredictable, and that's pretty much the way you want to have it. You don't want to be able to figure things out all the time. It gets boring. So we're still trying to figure out who some of the people are, some of the cameos that are going to be in there, who the guy in the shadows is. I mean, everybody's guessed that it's the mustache man. I would be heavily disappointed if that was him, but I haven't seen anything to indicate that it's not him. So who knows? All right, let's say hi to people. The Duckman is here. The Aussie is here. Rational Skeptic is here. The story that Gunn is telling Peacemaker 2 really needed to be told. It tells the audience that the grass isn't greener on the other side. Yeah. I mean, and she Harcourt kind of said that when she said, have some faith in the whole universal whatever thing. And yeah, it's just, the life you live is the life you live. The life you have is the life you have. And there's a lot of good things in there that he's just willing to walk away from because he can't deal, with his past. He can't deal with the consequences that are around him. But it just doesn't work that way. He walked out of, and what this show is like, like Irrational said, the show is telling you that it can get worse. However, whatever day you're having, whatever things you're going through, things would always be better, but they could also be worse. He literally walked into a Nazi state thinking that was going to be better than what he was living in. So, and I think he's done a good job with the character development, because Peacemaker isn't the only one that's dealing with things like that. All of these people in this show, that's what makes this show so intriguing, is that all of these people are looking something for better than what they are. And they all want to be something else. They all have better better visions of themselves than the ones that they've lived, and they're trying to redeem themselves. So, Jose at 92, how are you doing? What's going on? I like Stephen Jules Rubin. I like Peace. That's all I got. Y'all enjoy. By the way, I did want to add. The other night, I typed, I don't think George Martin book's coming out. Well, Covert, as you said on air, George texted him in the winds of winter. Yeah, and like I said, I was telling Brad. I mean, for most of the world, including myself, who have read those books, Game of Thrones is the TV show. It's if he never did another book and the show and the lore kept going, no, it'll be fine. 22 shopping days to your birthday. Yep. I will definitely take you out to lunch here in Vegas. Well, I also find it kind of foolish that Peacemaker for poking around through a multiverse of doors actually opened up the wrong door. Yeah, they're careless. Yeah, these aren't these are not the people you want fucking around with any of this stuff. You got meathead Chris Smith just opening doors. You really didn't want that thing in the hands. He had the white supremacists with a portal in the other dimension. He really could have caused a lot of damage. So yeah. Wi-Fi. Yeah, it's been a lot of fun. Like I said, I like the discussion that is caused because we're having a comic book, science fiction, fantasy type of conversation instead of some of the other conversations we have. This is where I really get going in these things, no matter what they are. We start talking when we start talking the actual content and the actual story of it instead of a lot of the things that don't have anything to do with the story. Then this is where it gets fun. I'd much rather talk about the guy behind the curtain, who the special guest might be, or what the ramifications in alternate universes. Those are things this is why I got into all this. So I didn't get into all this to fight a culture war or to fight a war for content. I got into this to watch the content, and discuss the content. So I'm having fun. All right, man. Thanks for stopping by, Stephen. What are your thoughts on people saying that James Gunn Peacemaker is virtue signal backfire? Those people are the same people that usually say woke and other stuff that I ignore. So I just ignore them too. So why do you think Gunn depicted Nazi dimension as clean and peaceful? What do you think he's trying to say? Because that was the aim of the Nazi regime. That is the aim of white supremacy, is a clean, and what they perceive as clean and peaceful were they to attain their goals. And the fact that you didn't see any people of color, you can pretty much guess how they would attain their goal. But if you go all the way back into Himmler and Hitler and Goebbels and all the propaganda that they were putting out, then that was the dream. They looked upon people like us and anyone else that was not Aryan as dirt, as people that needed to be cleansed. So that whole thing was accurate to what they would envision their world be and what their world would look like had they won. So thank God it didn't. I did not see this. What caused that? I mean, they have it to lose, but you never want to lose 15. You don't want to lose 15,000, let alone 15 billion. But I have to look up that. I've been away from the news today. I had other stuff going on. Question, William, do you think a different door? No, I don't. I mean, it's always possible, but I mean, the Nazi go-to is always easy. A lot of authors and creators go to it because it was something that happened. World War II is something that happened and brought, it was the worst catastrophe in world history. And had it gone the wrong way, it would have been a catastrophe that would have been the gift that kept on giving. So like Philip K. Dick, a lot of these guys use World War II because that is, that's the last major conflict that we had that involved that many people. It is probably the most important point of history when you look at it. Elon Musk caused a boycott of Netflix for content. I didn't hear about that, and people still listen to that guy. So That's what cost them 15 billion. But anyway, that's not really something I really feel like discussing. Hello, Bradley. Yeah.
Hell,
You get a haircut, motherfucker. No, I'm just kidding.
I just got one like 2 weeks ago.
But,
You
it
should
was
have seen what.
it was like the Beatles. Remember the Beatles? They long haired freaks. The Beatles. That was long hair, dude. Those guys are like.
You should have seen what I looked like 2 weeks ago with my headset off.
Are you gonna get a man bun? The man bun.
Yeah, I was thinking about doing that with the
No.
Well, see, think about it. This is like it was, pretty long, and of course, there's the training side of my life, and then it was starting to just frizz like crazy whenever I would finish up in the dojo, and it was kind of getting to the point where it's like, okay, I need to either get my layers put back into it or start pulling it back. And the problem is, I don't like pulling it back unless I can get all of it back. I don't like doing like the whole having like half. And so
yeah, I seen that shit with the guys with the little thing, the little bonnet holders that they can hold their hair back with. Yeah, I'm just gonna shave mine bald. Probably tomorrow. Just go bald with it, face everything. But like I said, it hasn't been too hot lately. It hasn't been. There's been no consequences. So yeah, it's pretty nice. We're in the 80s right now. Now I can start doing some stuff outside if I want to, but now we start seeing the pumpkins. We start seeing you go into the stores, you see all the Halloween stuff up. They can't wait to get that Christmas shit out there. The entire goal of retail is to get to Christmas. Everything else is cannon fodder. Everybody wants to get to Christmas, get to that black. That's why they call it Black Friday.
It's why reminds me of you ever seen our reindeer games with Ben Affleck?
In Charlie's Theron, it's a horrible movie, but yeah, it was fun.
I like it, but there's Danny Trejo's, and it's when he was like kind of first coming up. And
I thought you were gonna say when he was young. That dude was never young. That guy was born the day that guy's baby pictures looks like exactly like he does.
Pretty much, yeah. He's from the Jack Nicholson School of Aging. It's when he and like the other bad truckers are kidnapping them, and he's reading through like an economics textbook or something. And it says like, it says here that the retail industry does 50% of its business between December 1st and December 25th. That's half a year's business in 1 month's time. Seems to me that that a smart like retail establishment or like a smart economy, so whatever the term you use was, it's like would establish a second such gift giving holiday, say at Christmas too, in late April, early May, to further stimulate growth.
Yeah, it doesn't work though. People they try. They try. Trust me. I mean, retail has been trying to replicate what Christmas does for them for fucking a century now, if not longer, and it just doesn't work. It's just we are a psyche, we are a world and country and economy that uses Christmas as the capitalistic way to make that move, and we don't, it's like I said, people are like, well, Black Friday, why do they call it that? I'm like, this is exactly why, because a lot of people don't realize the difference between being in the red and being in the black. Trust me, I know. So yeah, a lot of small businesses, use it as well. I mean, but mainly for corporations and things, because they front load and back load money and, financing and everything. And then, you spread it out throughout the year, and then you try to end the year in the black, and that's why they do it. So, but yeah, you see Christmas out there. I'm already starting to see Nightmare Before Christmas shit. The 12-foot skeletons are out. I would buy one if I could justify the $300. I can't, because if I get one of those 12-foot skeletons, that motherfucker's staying up all year round. It's going to be the Easter Bunny 12-foot skeleton. It is going to have a pilgrim hat on it in November. It is going to have a Super Bowl helmet on it when Super Bowl Sunday comes around. It'll have a fucking birthday cake on and a hat on it for my birthday. It'll be the New Year's Eve 12-foot. If I drop that kind of coin, that damn skeleton is going to stay up. And I'll have an alarm and a dog, because I know people try to steal them. And I'll have a pit bull out there. Just his doghouse will be right out there. And he'll be dressed up in whatever theme it is. If it's Kwanzaa, he comes out dressed up in the shit. If it's Christmas, he's gonna have antlers out, but he's gonna be a pit bull that's attacked first. Get the hell away from my 12-foot skeleton. But that's the only way I could ever. Like I said, it's gonna stay up. It's gonna stay up. I'll have it at the center, because I'm on the second floor, so I'll have a way to fold that motherfucker out every day. And it's like, whatever the occasion is, we got a 12-foot skeleton for it, because it's not coming down if I drop that kind of money for it. Oh yeah. It's outside of what? No, Christmas stuff is coming out. I've seen it in some places. They're already a depot. They're already starting to set up the displays. I'm like, damn, dude, we're still in the 80s. What are you doing? All right. Let's see. Elon Musk has a boycott. I really don't want to talk about Elon Musk ever on this fucking stream. I really don't. I'm sorry. I know some people love him or whatever. There's no entertainment value to him on this stream, so I don't really talk about the guy. There are certain people who just don't bring any. There's no value to talking about him on the stream. He's one of them. Hello, Droga. We got two Aussies. We got a double Aussie in here. Hey, Anthony Grigsby, if you're watching, because I know you listen, you don't always chime in. I want to come in. I want to have like a hat trick of Aussies coming up in here.
Did you see the Frankenstein trailer earlier today?
No, I did not.
Yeah, because
I put a star next to it.
I was going to ask, did you want to like roll the dice on playing it?
I mean, we're just going to get demonetized. So, I mean, when this type of I'm not really worried about monetization on these particular streams until I change the format of the channel, which is coming soon, guys. I'm going to be prepared for a lot of polls because I'm going to be asking you guys some stuff because like I said, I want to have topics, but I want to have a free flowing conversation as well. I don't want necessarily be topic dominated, but I want to be in the area of certain topics, but sometimes there ain't shit going on. Sometimes it just really isn't stuff going on, and it's like, and then we have these shows once they end, like Tuesday night. What do we did? I didn't know what the hell to do with myself after Alien Earth is gone.
That eye just left like a big hole in my heart.
The eye was a letdown, to be honest with you. The eye ended up being for not to have an episode following the week after. The eye ended up being a waste of time for me because all it did is inhabit a dead body. It sat up and then that's it. So I get to wait 2 years to see what happened to that. The eye had a chance for me to actually care about it when I thought he was going to put it into something that could actually talk and say what it was, that discussion that he was thinking for him. And when it didn't, it was like, okay, well, that's a fucking letdown. I don't want to see that eye again, and unless you're going to do something with it. And now I got to wait, a year? Because they haven't even greenlit. There's been no. I've heard no talk, and I've been listening. There's no guarantee we're getting Alien Earth 2. Everybody, the way he set it up, he set it up for a 2. But that doesn't mean everybody who's working on a show sets themselves up, just in case, But we don't. There are shows that we never get a season, whatever, from. I could bring up Mindhunters over and over again, but it looks like we're going to get Mindhunters season. Well, they're going to do they're going to do something like a Sherlock situation where they do like a series of movies type of deal. I would rather they just do the show. I think the show flows better, but you know what? I will not. You give me any type of Mindhunter, we probably add that to fucking I don't know if that makes for a good watch party. I don't think any David Fincher stuff makes for a good watch party outside of Zodiac, to be honest with you. And Zodiac, I watched Zodiac the other night. Zodiac's a brilliant movie. Zodiac is a brilliant movie. Zodiac might be. I have it tied for Manhunter as the best serial killer movie. And that includes Silence of the Lambs. If you guys haven't seen Zodiac, it's better than 7. It's another Fincher movie. Zodiac is better than 7. I think because Zodiac is a true story, and a lot of the stuff that he used from David Graysmith's book, it's a haunting movie. I watched that movie. There's not a lot of shit in movies that scares me. Like that, stuff can explode. You start fucking around, messing with eye damage and genital damage, things like that. That kind of makes me cringe. But there's not very movies that make me look around. It's like the fucking Zodiac is like outside or something. I'm like, should I be watching this? I'm like, the guy's like 90 if he's still around. And David Fincher made me think that this motherfucker was around like now. That movie is so intense, and it's the kind of music. He opens it up with a song called "Hurdy Gurdy Man." And I remember seeing this in the movie, and the way he used that song, he opens the movie with that and he closes it with that. So if you guys haven't seen Zodiac, that is probably the only. I don't think we should ever do a watch party of 7. I think that's distasteful because would you be okay if House of Cards came back? I was never a fan of it to begin with.
Yeah, I never
I
really
was I
watched it.
can't
I
I
think
can't answer that
you're
for you.
asking like I think are you asking like would it be okay if it came back with Kevin Spacey in it?
Um, to me, the there's so much ambiguity there with as far as like where his legal situation is. It would be up to the free market to decide that. I wouldn't watch it. I wouldn't feel me personally. I wouldn't feel comfortable watching it. But would I be somebody who would try to stop it from happening, or one of these people that would be an uprising? No, I'd let the free market handle that. I from Kevin Spacey, this point on, there's just too much. I'm uncomfortable with watching his content. I know usually I can separate the art from the artist. Once I find out that once I gotta I don't know. Like I said, he has been
There's enough smoke around his fire, maybe is the way to put it.
But like I said, the free market and capitalism made their decision with Michael Jackson because there was fire around Michael Jackson's fire.
Yeah.
And like I said, Michael Jackson
And he
could come
sell
out
out
and say,
stadiums today.
at Legion Stadium, if you were alive today, I'm doing a Legion Stadium. And you would have people from all over Japan alone. You'd have to make a date for Japan alone because they would be over here in jets to go there. Right before he died, he was getting ready for a sold out world tour. So, and Michael Jackson, like I said, there wasn't just smoke around with Michael. There was fire around Michael Jackson. There were settlements around. And I'm not saying that this says it's guilt, but there was a lot more. Michael Jackson was on trial. Remember, he showed up to the damn courthouse dancing on the car. I'm like, dude, what? Okay.
Yeah.
So I'm not saying
Chris
Michael
Rock
Jackson,
said he showed up looking like Captain
look
Crunch.
like Captain Crunch. I do. I spit soda through my nose when he said that. I'm like, what kind of black man shows up to a court date late?
20 minutes later or whatever it was.
20 minutes later,
coming in looking like
exactly what he did. Yeah. So, but he once again, the free market and the audience is not required to have the same kind of moral connection to their product as we are. I personally have an issue with Kevin Spacey. I will not, until I see an exoneration and proof otherwise, I am uncomfortable with watching Kevin Spacey. That's just a personal thing, but I would not, if the free market says come back, it's the free market. That's what they do. Fincher can do whatever he wants. After I get Once Upon a Time in Hollywood, I don't need that movie again. I mean, I don't hate that movie at all, but I don't. If you gave me, I would go see Once Upon a Time in Hollywood too. I would have no problem going to see that. Not before I see Mindhunter. All right. If I got a choice on the menu, I need Mindhunter season 3, and then everybody else can have whatever they want. I have to have Mindhunter season 3. I don't think you guys understand just how great that show was. That show, Forrest, did you watch Mindhunters? That seems like a show. I know you hate everything. You're like Oscar the Grouch in his trash can. But did you watch? If you like Fincher and haven't watched Mindhunters, I can't talk to you anymore. I might have to ban you from the channel. I don't think so. I think they're both classics. So we're not talking about,
Yeah, one of them needs to get the popcorn bucket.
You're not talking about like, I like this movie and this other one can go straight to hell. I love Seven. Seven's one of the all-time greats, but I think Zodiac, there's just a vibe and a feel. And then there's an intensity. And plus it's a much longer movie. If I can vote Zodiac's like 2 hours and 45 minutes, but it doesn't. A movie that long that doesn't lose its intensity is like brilliant. Jake Gyllenhaal is great in there. Mark Ruffalo is great. Robert Downey Jr. is in. Everybody is in. It's like everybody's in this movie. It's not like the Odyssey or anything like that, but we're like the entirety of Hollywood is in it. But there's a lot of people, and I love Zodiac. I love Zodiac, and what I love about Zodiac that edges it out for me when it comes to Seven. Like I said, Seven's a brilliant movie. It's one of my favorite, and you know how I love serial killer movies. Seven's up there, and it's in the Mount Rushmore, right? But I've also followed the Zodiac case my entire life. I mean, it was my entire life, watching that, and then we got the internet, we got the places we can go watch, see these documentaries, and when you see Zodiac the movie, you see the wear and tear that it took on the people who took up this case, the cops that took up this case, the people that, you know, spent their lives, I mean, spent decades looking for this guy and retired and handed the case on the other people. You see it, and I guess it's because of the actors. But then you go to 7, and then it's like there's very little weak spot. There's no weak point about 7. You know, Kevin Spacey, that's an all-time role for him. I wanted to kill Kevin Spacey. And this is before I knew anybody about any of this other shit. I'm like, he plays somebody that is like, he's one of those villains that's like, you know, you just remember. And that movie, and, you know, the 7 Sins and everything else, the way the story was told, it was told, like I said, that's how what Fincher means to me. I'm literally fighting over 2 Fincher movies. Which one is better? You know, you've made a good body of work when you got to think of which one of your greatest accomplishments is greater. That's like the problem I'm going to have with Denis Villeneuve, even though I don't know if I'm going to see something that tops 2049 for me. I was talking to somebody today who came in and they had the unicorn tattoo. I get every now and then I get people in there. So they went from a person that came in to look around, right? And then I saw that tattoo, and now you know how that goes. 2 hours of your life is gone. And it all goes back to 2049. It all goes back to, you know, and this guy's, you know, he hasn't made a movie that I have not liked. Now, there are varying degrees of Denis Villeneuve's movies. You know, I don't watch Sicario as much as I do other movies, but I do watch it. Prisoners. I mean, there's other movies in his library that if I had to do, you know, 1, 2, 3, you know, I watch 2049 like once a month. So there's other movies that I could go without for a while. So, yeah, please add Fincher. Just add all of Fincher shit except for Alien 3. Don't add that one, because you will spend way too much time trying to figure out how the guy who made this made everything after that, which everything he did after that is near in greatness. That movie sucked, and I still can't believe, and he even hates it. So yeah, start after his first movie, which is Alien 3, and then go from there. And I think you're going to be entertained. But definitely watch Zodiac. I love that movie. Yeah, the whole show is set up as but generally, a lot of times these guys have been making that announcement before the first season even ends. I haven't heard an announcement yet, and I'm wondering why. Is it because the whole Hulu thing? You know, Hulu is going to be disappearing. Obviously, it'll be on Disney Plus where we can watch it. But I find it strange that this hasn't been announced yet. It did well. I'm assuming it did well, right? I don't know. I'm just I don't know. I would like to see what happens. I mean, they set up a lot of things that are like, ooh, I wish they would have ended it better. I wish it had been a longer show so that we could wrap up some things, you know. But they did what they did.
Let me go ahead and pull up the Frankenstein trailer. Here we go.
Yeah. Oh, at least I know you're doing it, so I can blame it on you when we get demonetized. When we steal our quarter. It's a quarter now. It's not just 14 cents. It's a quarter we're losing. Yeah.
All right. Ready? We're going to play the Frankenstein trailer. Guillermo del Toro's Frankenstein.
When we disappear, you know who to blame. I'm just kidding.
You approved it. All right.
My maker told his tale. And I will tell you mine.
I never thought Shape of Water would be
remember
one for. He did it.
Pieces.
It should say in the beginning from the director of Blade 2.
Different men.
No.
Or from the director of Blade 2, Empress of Ren.
And I saw
His undisputed best.
your name. Victor.
Well, it's going to be in theaters.
Just long enough to get Academy recognition.
This looks really really stylized. I thought that's my first thing I thought when I saw this. But this definitely feels very Del Toro. Hey, what's going on, Tracy? Yes. Yeah, you might say this trailer is fire. This other.
If you want to award me love,
Oh yeah, I agree. I'm looking forward to this. I'm checking what Fandango actually seeing it's going to be playing it. One near me.
I don't know if I'm going to see it in the theater, but I am definitely going to see it. If we promote it, I'll do it.
now
And again, very, very stylized.
run.
Very, very stylized. It's alive.
This trailer did nothing for me, but it did need to. The talent that's in this has already got me going to either see it when we promote it or when it hits Netflix, possibly doing a watch party for it. The trailer didn't do anything for me, but that doesn't mean it's going to be a bad movie. It didn't really.
When you say it didn't do it, it didn't move the where he was. Neil didn't even move, basically.
I see all of his movies. You know, I don't like all of his movies. Obviously, I think, I'm sorry, Pacific Rim is a waste of my time. It's historic on the show what I feel about Blade 2. But Shape of Water, which I was surprised he won for, but I'm glad he got one for that because he is a worthy. But this movie, I'd already seen enough in interviews and everything from
what
this
did
movie.
They show any? Because you guys also, you and Rhea, they had the panel at Comic-Con for this. Did they show any footage there? Or
they did, but I wasn't at that one because
okay.
I know he was there for something else, but I didn't see the panel for that. But I saw some of the stuff. Oscar Isaac can do no wrong with me, even if he's in a bad movie. He's generally one of the better parts of it. It looks great, but like I said, the trailer wasn't something like, oh wow, that's nice. It was all right.
It's actually cheaper than probably the trailer would make you think of the guy at the Wikipedia for it up here. The budget was $120, which is big, but it's not. That looks like it was more than that.
That's actually pretty cheap.
Yeah, compare. We're talking about $100 million, $20 million cheap, but again, for how grandiose and visually spectacular that looked, I think you probably would infer that budget would be probably more like about in the 200 range.
Yeah, but you could also do a lot. I mean, like I said, with Netflix, they make a lot of stuff. They have a lot of things available to them. You don't think there'll be a season 2, but like I said, it's possible it wasn't announced.
So where would you we were talking about, since we got Frankenstein coming up, it's like where are some of your like favorite adaptations, the other versions of Frankenstein?
The original Universal one from the 30s. I haven't been a big fan of the story since then. I don't think there's been a good one since
I got kind of a soft spot for the 94 one with De Niro and Branagh. Partly because I had to fight my mom so hard to see it.
That's semi-porn. I didn't feel that was telling a Frankenstein story, but then The Bride and Sting has been in one, and I think they've all been kind of bad. So this will actually be the first one I'm actually looking forward to.
I mean, first of all, we can all agree the undisputed best one is Young Frankenstein. I mean, that's just beyond. That's not even like up for debate. It's Young Frankenstein. Come on.
I could debate it.
That movie. Oh yeah. Like it's like a drive-in kind of thing. Yeah, I think so.
Zodiac Straight Fire. I watch that movie at least once a month. I watch it once every couple of months. But I've been watching it lately because for some reason Zodiac is popping up because they're solving some stuff in there. And it's an unsolved mystery. It's just, that movie is so haunting. I love it. Who would I cast as? I don't really get into this. I don't. See, here's the problem with me, and I really don't want to cop out answer because you contributed to the show, Rational. I don't like fan casting. I think fan casting is a loser's game. Not that you all are losers who do it, but as a fan, me trying to do it, I'm always going to lose. And the reason why is because I don't have the script. I don't know what he's going for. So if you're asking me who would I cast in Ta-Nehisi Coates' movie, me and him think differently. We have different minds. So whereas he may write a story that's more centric around certain elements of being black and being certain things. I may see the world in a different way and cast someone else. So if you were asking me who I would cast in general, period, without aside from him, it would probably be a better question. And in that case, there's a lot of people. It might end up being an unknown. You would want somebody, depending on at what point of his career are we telling an origin story. You got a lot of different guys that could play that role that are in their mid to late 20s. You got and a lot of them don't look like what you think they would look like. Take the guy from Lucas from Stranger Things. You see him with a flat top, dressed up in 80s gear, and you think, that guy could never play him, right? But we have these things called makeup chairs and hairstylists and wardrobe that make people look like something else. So you could take somebody that is nowhere near where you think they would be and nowhere you wouldn't even think Superman, and you could cast that person, and that person could literally turn into Superman. So I'm always torn when it comes to, because then when they don't cast that person, we're like, and then that's what I mean. That's why it's a loser's game, because you're always going to come out at a loss because, you think it's different. So there's a lot of, if I were to give you an answer, anybody, because I would have faith in whoever is writing and directing it, that they would make that person into Superman. That's a tough one though. Sorry about that. Thank you for the support, man. I hope I gave you at least an answer and not a bullshit waste of your $2 there. Sorry. Nobody is a bad Fincher film. It's not near the top. I'll tell you that. So nobody is bad in it. I thought you were talking about nobody. I don't know why. I'm thinking of something else. Nobody is bad in Fincher film. No, it's just impossible. Why am I thinking about nobody? That's not even a Fincher film. Whatever. Not a great film, by the way. I didn't think it was horrible. No, there's nobody. I can't think of a bad performance. Can you? Will you watch a lot of Fincher stuff though?
Yeah, so.
Brad Pitt,
probably his best in my mind probably is Gone Girl. That's probably my favorite of his, is Gone Girl.
I think that one's a great movie. I saw all the twists coming from a mile away though. I don't know if I was supposed to, or didn't hurt the movie for me, but people were telling me, dude, you're never going to figure out what's. I'm like, dude, the whole theater I was in, I'm pretty much the dumbest one in the theater. We figured that shit out like immediately. It's kind of like the people I was sitting in what's it, 7 cents or 6 cents, where me and a buddy were like, he's dead, isn't he? We didn't want to we were looking at each other. Man, he's a buddy of mine, and we're like, I remember looking over to him, and we were looking at each other. We were thinking the same thing, and then we looked over to the other people because it was our platoon that went out, and we figured out, and we were like not even halfway through that movie, and then when it happened, and I remember us discussing it out in the lobby of the theater, and then a lot of people in the theater, were picking it up too. It was like, so Gone Girl was one of those. It was supposed to have this big twist, and I'm like, no, that was what's her face? She played in Bond too. Fincher Zodiac, but I feel if you erase 7 from history, it would alter a lot of cinema. The Batman being an easy. Okay, I can agree with you. The influence, okay, that I can agree with. The influence of 7 might be higher than Zodiac. But for me, Zodiac is a superior movie to 7. But I understand where you're coming from with 7, because if you watch the Batman, well, but then again, we're talking about a Zodiac thing too. I mean, Batman went the superhero sort of route, but yes, I mean, damn, it's all tied to the Zodiac.
Yeah, let me actually go back real quick on the question about the Ta-Nehisi Coates Superman. Can I give my
over to you? I'm sorry.
My thoughts on that real quick. First of all, I'm not the biggest fan of Coates himself, in large part because one of his books he had some pretty disparaging comments about 9/11 first responders. It's like, okay, that really rubbed me the wrong way, dude.
What was this?
It was one of his books where he said something about that, like, firefighters and cops responding to 9/11. They weren't human to me. They were like a mechanism of the oppressive American government or something along those lines. It's like that. That really. Well,
not saying he didn't say it. I just don't.
That really. Again, that snippet of it was, really. Yeah, I take issue with that.
I just want to look at that.
It's a snippet of it. I've read the whole book, but I've seen the snippet of it. It's from his book, Between the World and Me. The paragraph is of police and firefighters who were 9/11 first responders. Quote, "They were not human to me, black, white, or whatever. They were menaces of nature. They were the fire, the comet, the storm, which could, with no justification, shatter my body."
I'm seeing it right now.
Yeah.
I'd say a bunch of right-wing places bringing it up, but that's what happened when you Google shit. But let's just say that I am going to be the last person to tell another black man how to be black or how to feel about the world. I will have serious disagreements with some of some of my brothers and sisters out there. We don't all have the same experience. There's a lot about him that I don't sit well with. Sometimes it bleeds over to his storytelling, and sometimes it doesn't. But and there are a lot of people throughout history and contemporary history where I have some disagreements, but I have to pull myself back because I never want to tell somebody how I'm not the lens through the life you lived.
Well, and I'm not telling to be clear, I'm not telling anybody else how to feel towards his work.
No, and if you have an individual feeling about him, that's he's public domain. It's out there for you to have that feeling about. I have some issues, but
And we'll see the other thing that's kind of a little more pertinent to the whole Superman project. This is going to sound a little bit conspiratorial here, but everybody just hear me out on this, because he was the news that he was brought aboard to write a script for a Black Superman movie was was back like early 21, I think. And it was he was like in the lead up actually when Zack Snyder's Justice League was coming out. So, and it was also when Ray Fisher was kind of in his struggle with Warner Brothers over the behind the scenes situation on that. And this may sound a little bit conspiratorial, but I don't think there was, at the studio level, I don't think there was like, this was something they actually seriously wanted to do. Or seriously wanted to green light and like actually get this made. I think this is one of those things they just kind of threw out there just to say, hey, we're not racist or any of these things that Ray Fisher is accusing us of. Is because, see, we're making a Black Superman movie.
The only problem with that is whether I disagree with some of the stuff that Ta-Nehisi Coates says and does, he would have never even wasted his time, and he wouldn't have given him 2 seconds. He wouldn't have given him if he thought that was the case. And if the discussions weren't real, he wouldn't have given him 2 seconds, and then that would have been done with. You can think whatever you want about him, and that's, like I said, he's public domain, and he put himself out there for the opinions to be formed. But I do think it's something. I actually think it's something that's still out there. But I don't think he would have wasted 5 seconds on some bullshit like that, because it just wouldn't. He's got other things going. He's in demand. People, he's in demand on a lot of different formats. Like I said, I have to figure out a way to articulate how I feel about some of this stuff because it's intertwined with his storytelling. And at the end of the day, my lens to him as a retailer and somebody who sells some of the stuff he puts on my shelf, there is a difference between how he feels politically and what he necessarily puts in there and portrays as a story. There's 2 different conversations, in my opinion, to have, and one doesn't necessarily have anything to do with the other. So it's kind of a crossroads with the guy. But no, I don't think there's. I think it's just like a lot of projects. It's an idea. You have some. And again,
this is all just my thinking. I'm not like telling anybody this is. I don't what to think of him as a creative or a writer, as a person, or what to think of the Superman project he was attached to. And by the way, I again, the people running the studio at the time were petty enough. I doubt this was not intentional.
But I doubt. I don't think if there were discussions with him, that means there were seriously thought about doing it.
And yes, JJ was also going to produce it.
Yeah, I mean, and you have, but I think that has to do more with mismanagement and shifting executive bosses. How many fucking owners were involved during WB during the entire span of some of these projects span 3 owners.
Yeah.
So I don't think that. Yeah, I think that was just mismanagement, and then things got put on the back burner. And you know what? Sometimes as a business, you go with the hottest fire. If something else is taking traction, and you think you can go somewhere with that, then guess what? Discussion or not, you go with that. That's kind of like with James Gunn. He may have said, you know what, I plan to do this, but I got a better script from this, and there's momentum going here from this, and this is what we're doing. You roll with the punches. So I don't think there was any conspiracy about that, because like I said, I don't think he would have ever been involved at any level if there was. You want to hear? Oh, hold on, where did we go with this? I have no hold on, where was this? Okay, you had a I'm going to fourth had a about one something. Hold on. I just gotta find the walls. Okay. Not a big Paul Thomas Anderson. I mean, I don't have, he's not somebody that the wallet, jumps out of my pocket. I don't hate him. I'm not a hater. I just don't have any. I mean, we went over his catalog the other day and I found some stuff and I'm like, all right. But I'm not like, as far as like, I'm not going to carve out time in my day for any of his movies. I can when I can see them 30 days, especially this one. I think it's going to be 30 days, if not sooner, on streaming. Well, I'll watch it on streaming for sure. I won't avoid it, but it's not something I'm like, damn it. You know what? I got a busy schedule. Let me make some movie. But he's not, I mean, do you have any of his movies that really stick with you in that manner?
Whose movies?
Paul Thomas Anderson.
Yeah, not really. I'm not.
Yeah, sorry, folks. I'm not trying to down your guy. I'm just not. Guillermo del Toro, I'm going. Denis Villeneuve, I'm going. Ridley Scott, I'm going. Paul Thomas Anderson, I'll see the movie, but I'm not making time in my day for it. I'm sorry, man. And it might have turned out to be a brilliant movie. It sounds like it's going to get some Oscar buzz. So, even though I said I wasn't going to do this year, because if I don't think I should be watching more Oscar movies than the people voting for them. I think that if I am watching for it, if I am watching the movies, at least if I decide to have an Oscar discussion, I've seen the movies. And I think from what I'm hearing, it sounds like it's going to get nominated. So we'll eventually watch it.
I'll
eventually watch it.
God,
you think I would like it? Hey, I'll give it a shot. Like I said, I'm not avoiding it. It's just, dude, I just don't,
That was one of the funniest streams I think we've ever done. We were reading that article about how the Oscar voters aren't watching the Oscar movies.
We are not bringing up the Ray Fisher thing on the show. I'm sorry. There's been plenty of streams. Dude, nothing but love for Ray Fisher. But
just Google it, man. It's very well documented.
I've read plenty about it. Yeah, I don't want to turn the show into the tangle fuck. That would be the explanation of everything that went on during that era.
Yeah, it's extremely well documented though. It's
more so than it probably. I mean, by people, it's just William Brad. Do you guys think that Ta-Nehisi Coates Superman will be a Calvin Ellis or race swap? I don't think. Knowing him and his style, I don't think he will do a race swap. I think he would do Calvin Ellis, but like I said, I don't know the man well enough to know. But judging from his previous stuff, I don't think that would sit well.
And you said, and like a lot of other black fans in the community have seen this. Like they don't. A lot of
that would be an insult to me.
Yeah, they don't. A lot of they don't want a black Clark Kent. They want a black Superman like Calvin Ellis. Again, I can never keep it straight. Like what. Was it Calvin Ellis or which one was the one who was
Zod, you got Calvin Ellis,
but who was the one who was meant? It was Calvin Ellis, right? He was supposed to be the Barack Obama analog.
Yeah, the president and all that. Here's a problem so this is a hard question for me to because it's not a black and white type of, literally. If you were going to race swap and do an alternate Superman, you're going to have to tell the story that is going to be much different than a white guy landing in Kansas. You see what I mean? When you're talking about, and depending on if you're going to do a period piece, it gets even more complicated, because if we're talking about 1938, a black man landing anywhere in the United States, it's probably not going to end well.
I mean, it's a good thing that he's bulletproof.
Yeah, I mean, you're talking about something like that. I don't know how. Now you're talking about a different world. How is that world going? Look at where we were at. So if you're willing to go through the complications of telling that story, and you were going to do a waist drop, there's a story there to tell. Is that my preferred one? No, because the struggle of that becomes a story, and not necessarily Superman. But that would be more. I want you. I don't need you to touch the Superman that's there, me personally. But we have, Kryptonians. Obviously, any place that has a southern equator that is in the sun, or other, we're gonna have some, some of us. So I would like, if there's, black Kryptonian or a Daxamite, you could have a Daxamite. If you don't say, well, because you know what, for a planet that lost everyone but the last son of Krypton, there's awful lot of fucking Kryptons that show up the last 80 years.
Well,
Dogs,
a lot of them got thrown to the Phantom Zone. So
the Phantom Zone, Kandar. If we're gonna do something like that, I would say make him a Daxamite. I mean, make him a Daxamite, because then you have an entire history that with Daxam that goes through, that I think is uncovered. But I think if he were going to do it, it would be Calvin Ellis, because I think that is along the lines of his philosophy from what I would see. And to answer your question, Rational, now my preference would be just to start from scratch. Don't use any of those guys, to be honest with you. Don't use any of those guys, because guess what? Even though if you're going to tell a story about a black superhero that's going to be at the top of the card, being black is going to be part of the story. It is undeniable. It is. There's just no way around it.
It's interesting. It's that we're talking about this too, going into this next episode of Peacemaker, where there's
where he's
this episode takes place in a universe where there's a for those of you who haven't seen it, there's a reason why there's a dearth of black people in it.
So you gotta, whenever it happens, whenever you make a black Superman, whether if you do one straight from scratch, like you said, an alternate universe where they sent the black man instead of Krypton, it's gonna be it's gonna be huge, actually, because now, because like I said, we got like 5 headliners that we can count. And so, the 13% of the population that is us, we'll gather around it. The difference to your question, as far as audiences accepting a black Superman like they did a black Miles Morales, it's a complete answer. It's everything you need to know in the answer. How Miles Morales came about. There was still a Spider-Man in our normal universe. And they were able to kill the Spider-Man in the Ultimate Universe, because that was considered to be an alternate universe. That wasn't the 616, right? It allowed him to be fleshed out. I don't know if it would have happened if it were in the standard universe, but because you had the Ultimate Universe, you had Ultimate Fallout, you had something that was set aside that wasn't, considered, that allowed that character to be exposed to readers, who could relate to him. And the thing about Miles Morales is not just because he's black, biracial, Afro-Latino, is that he's a kid. A lot of the audiences that buy, that can connect with him, both on the movies and the video games, are kids, period. And then you have the underrepresented to beginning. So I think that if it's done right, then yes, Rational. I think if it's done right, if it is not just about him being black, because guess what? Us black folk, we're Americans too. We're working at the same places you are. We're going through the same thing a little bit differently. Our experience is different, but it's still American. So if you're going to do a character, it's going to be great to have that representation, but you still need to represent the fact that we all coexist in the same society. And the people who have handled Miles Morales have done that. When you watch Across the Spider-Verse, yes, you have a black a young man who's Afro Latino that is Spider-Man, and that culture is there with his mother and his father, but that's not the story. It's just something that it is relatable to him. So I think at the end of the day, the representation is great, but Black Panther, just having a black guy be King of Wakanda wouldn't have just done it. It has to be presented right. It has to be written right. So I think yes, if it's done right. Sorry for the long ass answer. I feel like I cheated you out of your one that you paid for.
Fourth.
Okay. I'll get around. Like I said, I'm not avoiding it. I'm just not. A lot of people like certain directors that I just say, okay, cool. He's not something like, like I said, oh, it's PTA. Oh, no. I just don't, I just don't feel drawn like that. But you know what? Like I said, I think it's going to end up getting, I think it's going to get some Oscar buzz, and I'd like to watch it. If I make the decision to watch the Oscars this year, first of all, if Sinners is not nominated, then maybe that'll change all that. I don't know if it's going to win. It's the best movie of the year.
It's getting a re-release for Halloween.
Yeah, it's the best movie of the year for me. But you know what? I mean, if it doesn't even get nominated, then I'm going to be like, okay, what's going on? If Cougar doesn't get nominated for Best Director, if Michael B. Jordan doesn't get nominated for Best Actor, possibly Best Supporting Actor, because
which role is he getting nominated for?
And that, to me, he played two distinctively different brothers. I could tell without looking at them, just because, even without their hats, who was what, because he played Smoke differently than he played Stack and vice versa. So I think that should get nominated. But in Frankenstein's definitely, I think, is going to get nominated. Oscar Isaac, I would love to see Oscar Isaac get,
the Smashing Machine, again, which I'm going to see.
Smashing Machine, he's a favorite from what I'm hearing, but that could change. It's only October, so.
Again, please watch the movie, Oscar voters.
Jane Goodall. I kind of grew up. As a young itty bitty kid, I got her confused with the Gorillas and the Mist lady.
Diane Fossey.
Diane Fossey. I always found a way. Because they were both in the same field. And Gorillas and the Mist is a fucking amazing movie. Our art teacher showed that shit to us in school, and I'm like, and how it ends, I'm like, you pieces of shit. But yeah, I would always get her confused with her until I got older and understood, okay, one of them was brutally murdered and the other one to this day, until at her 91st birthday or whatever, had passed away. So 1934 to 2025, that's a good run. That's a long life. That's a lot of conservation. That's a lot of opening eyes to conservation, because her everybody who died, and it's not, and she puts her life in danger. Obviously, if you watch Gorillas in a Minute, she saw what happened to Fossey in the poaching and all that trade. When you're going to these places in these countries and getting in the way of their economy, you're putting your life in danger. So I commend these guys that do that, because there's big money. I mean, if you look at the Ivy, the killing of all the elephants and everything, the people who put themselves in lives, they have contracts put out on them. So rest in peace, Jane Goodall.
Yeah, fourth. Okay, come on, fourth.
No, we're not bringing that up.
Yes. We have a new viewer in the chat, or in the chat. Stray Cat, Mr. Riao. Okay, so nice to see you, Mr. Stray Cat. First time in the Cyber Center.
Nice to meet you. They're not going to do it. Old James Gunn might do an Icon movie, but if you're going to be, putting Superman on, it's going to probably be a better business decision. I think he's even said that, when it comes cinematically, there's going to be certain characters that he sticks to, and Icon, unfortunately, is not widely known to the point where it would be an IP like that. I mean, we geeks know it, obviously, but and people who watch, certain channels and stuff know it, but like the vast majority of the world, you wouldn't be able to, that's something you would do a TV show on a much larger network on some of the stuff that it was done. But I don't see that becoming a cinematic movie. Not anytime soon. Maybe 6-7 years down the line, once he's established himself, maybe. William and Brad, would you rather have a real Batmobile from BBS or an Iron Man I'd
Mark
have that in
V
Mark
too.
5. Yeah. Mark 5 has a lot of cool shit on it. For me, it's
It's a tough one actually. Most things I probably said the Batmobile. It's like
but I just more diversity, more versatility I could do with for me with Iron Man. Any Iron Man suit except for the big trash can one. I had to watch Girls in the Mirror. Yeah, we watched it. Yeah, we watched it. We had a teacher that made sure that we.
What other ones? You know what else? I need to ask people in the chat. They also have to watch this in like in middle school science class. The voyage of the Mimi.
I didn't.
You know that the reason I ask is that because that's he was like PBS. It was like a PBS miniseries about marine biology and stuff like that. It had like a whole family and a bunch of scientists that were kind of part of it, and a couple kids a part of it. One of whom was played by a young Ben Affleck.
Wow. Nope, I have not.
And like the end of every episode, they would show like a behind the scenes that also kind of like go into the science of the episode. And most of those feature Ben, and he's like going like, "Hi everyone, I'm Ben Affleck." It's like, oh, it's like little like 13-year-old Brad's like, "Oh, there's your future Batman." But first is gonna be Daredevil.
No, I covered this. I covered this back at Comic-Con. I actually covered this because this was a couple years in the making. But yeah, they I thought I did. I mean, I saw the covers and stuff today. I'll probably cover that later on in the week. I just don't want to throw that out there. But I thought I covered that. Yeah, because they got the little cover and everything, and Kenny Omega's on there. I plan on getting the comics. I thought I covered this with you, Aaron. You sure I didn't cover it? I don't know. Maybe we do a lot of talking. So, but yeah, I'm definitely aware of it, and I definitely want to and I got your message with Black Canary with Anna. What's her face? Yeah, I saw that.
Fourth, you know what I'm talking about when I talk about Ray Fisher.
I don't even bring that up anymore. We don't want to turn. I don't even want that being something you guys even need to search for because you watch this show. Be honest with you, it's just nothing to do with this show. It was ugly. A lot of people covered it and ran it into the ground. Regardless to how you feel about it, I think the way that entire situation was covered kind of ruined YouTube for me for a little bit.
What do you mean?
Because people who are not qualified to really, say certain things said a lot of things. It's one thing to have an opinion, but when you go on and you make it, your world, it's like, I mean, how much do you really know? Some people talked to him, some people knew him, but nobody was going to be everywhere to the point. We're not a news organization. We don't have investigative reporters. Having an opinion on YouTube doesn't mean shit sometimes, and if you don't have it structured, then your platform becomes that. And there was nothing for us at a certain point. That's why it never became a big topic here.
By the time I started streaming, on here too, I mean, it was, I don't and this is like without like getting behind the scenes on it. I mean, I don't personally feel like that really reached if I were in his shoes, I don't feel like that reached a resolution I personally would have been satisfied with. But
I'm not in his shoes, and that's the point.
Yeah, that's why I can only say that to with what's publicly known. But it's not controversial to say it was ugly.
It's not, but once again, that took you 2 seconds to say that. Not an entire show, not an entire series of shows, not something that would derail your show, not something that should be the topic of the show, at least here. And for a while it did, and I just had no interest in it because you had like I said, once you get into the TMZ stuff, you got to make sure that you have everything out there. What we had and what I felt that I'm qualified to say on this show would last 10-15 minutes. And that's where it kind of turned me off. It was the era of everybody being an expert on interior this and interior that when we're way on the outside. And I'm not trying to say who discount his story or anything like that. All I know is am I qualified to get into that, and what's that going to do to my channel? Just even bringing it up right now, it took time I did not want to spend on that topic. Just like the fucking what's the divorce thing that I had. That's not what we cover.
Well, that's not. I mean, with Ray Fisher, I mean but that's like actually a situation.
It's the same thing.
I think what. See, you're talking about.
Hold on. Okay, is the Sci-Fi Center presents here to cover that? And in both answers, in both questions, it's no. And that's not me giving an opinion on their plight. Is my platform here to cover that? And the answer is no. I can answer that for you. It's no. So I mean, let those investigations and court cases be handled in the places that they belong to be, they should be handled at. But as far as my expertise, as far as what I know, and
you did not think this is a new story.
I think it's not what we cover on this. It's not something we should be covering on the show for sure. And if other platforms want to do it, more power to them. But I really, I kind of took it. If you notice, I took a step away from some of the places I was at and places I was on when that will become the topic. Is because I'm not, that's not what I got on YouTube to do.
Well, yeah, but this is as far as like not stuff will cover on here. Simpsons, yes.
Simpsons
2. Simpsons 2.
Why would I cover
never going to end? This show's never ending.
Why? I lost interest in the Simpsons like 25 years ago.
You and I are going to be 20 years in the grave before this thing is like.
I'm alive and walking around, and I don't care about the Simpsons. I don't hate the Simpsons. I outgrew it. It's just not something it's just not something
never going to end.
Once again, not sign.
I'm
sorry, Jose. Listen, guys, remember my rule. I'm not required to give a fuck about everything. I'm sorry, and you couldn't. There are very few things that I care less about than the Simpsons. I don't hate them, and if you love them, have fun with them. We're discussing things that get me going. That I'm here to have a geek discussion, and if you're weighing down the conversation with shit I don't care about, I can't fake it. I can't fake that I give a shit about the Simpsons movie. I don't. I can't fake that I want to talk about the personal struggles of somebody and their legal battles on somewhere that I have nothing. I can't fake that I give a shit about that. I'm sorry. I'm apologizing.
Yes,
to you.
But William, it's lame to not be excited.
No, that's kind of up to me.
You are admitting your lameness by not.
No, I am hearing this. Listen. I wish more people would be honest. I wish more people wouldn't talk about shit that they don't fucking care about. If they don't care about, unless you are dedicated to covering the news. If you are a news channel that has to cover this stuff, and you put yourself in that position, by all means, you have to do it. But I'm not.
Treehouse of Horror. That's the horror distinction.
Back in 1990, when I cared about The Simpsons, this would have been a great topic.
Yes,
it's 2025, and I don't.
Aaron tagged me in that the little like end credits, like she takes our past fire like sequel. And I think Aaron, I think it'd be so hilarious if they do what they did in like the one Future episode where like she's a grown up or a teenager, and they have the joke like she won't shut up, but we never actually hear her talk. That'd be hilarious.
Congratulations on making a film. I would, let me know when you got it done, Droga.
Good job, man.
Let's see. Also, at your teaser visuals, Doomsday will be shown as Tekka's favorite franchise. I've been hearing that for a while. I'm just trying to wait to get that nailed down.
They're doing the re-release of Way of the Water 2 this weekend.
Let's see. Like I said, I'm not knocking you guys for loving The Simpsons. I just don't care. I haven't cared for decades. I just don't care. Sorry. I've offered the man his stream. I'm waiting for him so he can talk kung fu and things because it's got to be a drag on him for when he brings this shit up. I'm trying
to open your mind.
I don't want I don't need my mind open here by that kind of stuff. I don't care. I'm not saying it. Hold on. I'm not saying it's not a valid talking point. It's just not a valid talking point here. Why would you bring up something where 50% of the person I don't have fun. Have fun with whatever it is that you do. But that doesn't make it a topic for this show.
When the Furious comes out, you are going to be admitting your
I'm a grown ass man. I'm not gonna have some fucking enlightening about some shit that I've already seen and don't care about. You're not gonna change. I'm not here to change your mind, guys. Remember I said that? I am not here to change your mind about anything we talk about or don't talk about. But I'm not here to have mine changed either. You know, not on something like this. Listen, that's like telling me to throw myself into country music 100%. When I'm not into it 100%. People like what they like. People like talking about what they like talking about. That's what this show's for. Sorry. And I don't think I should have to apologize for, if I'm honest with you, I would be a fraud if you brought up shit about people in Amber Heard and Fish and all this stuff that I don't think is appropriate content for the channel, and I continue to do it, and I'm not into it, and I'm like bullshit, and I'm bullshitting you guys. You should unsubscribe. You should leave me because I'm full of shit and I'm a fraud.
Well, we are going to be. Where's that comment? Oh, yeah. We Perp and Aaron and I, we will absolutely be doing a watch party of the Furious when it comes out. So we don't have a date on when it's coming out yet.
And that's fine. That's fine, and I'm pretty sure that show will flow and be fun for the people who watch it. And I've offered that. I put that offer out there. It's not something that's I haven't.
Yeah, I just need to like formulate like what I would want this to be in my head before I like would really like get this off. It's kind of my own solo corner of the Sci-Fi Center enterprise. So
yeah,
I still want to do this. It's just I haven't like really. I mean, I'm sure William like had some when he started before I joined the Sci-Fi Center, like formulating like what you want the channel to be. It's like I kind of want to sort of have like all the pieces in place, like what I would want this to, what the format, like what topics, like do I like that's a good example. Like, do I want to like do like weekly like, or maybe like each show like here's we want to hit these topics, or we want to be more spontaneous, or we want everything to do watch party. So I'm still kind of bouncing those ideas around in my head before I would do. But we are absolutely doing a watch party of the Furious.
Yes. And to give you an example of me not even wanting to cover that stuff, I only covered the Vince McMahon stuff because it literally led to people coming and going from the current content I was watching.
And see, that's where I would say there's a distinction between like the Ray Fisher situation and like the Johnny Depp Amber Heard divorce that actually pertains to like the franchise or the project in question.
Not in real time. I mean, you're talking about things like that was happening in years. It had nothing to do with what was happening at the time I was on air.
Well, I'm saying if it was going on right now, I mean, that would be kind of unavoidable. Like
I would still make a decision to be like, am I qualified to not look like a fucking fool discussing 30 or 40% of the conversation, and other people's distorted views of it? I would have to make that decision. And I made that decision that I'm not. I can make a decision when it comes to Vince McMahon, thing like that, because I watched it. This is things that have been coming on about WWE for a long time, and we were able to put that together, and it led to TKO. It led to all those things. There was really no way around it if we were going to discuss the WWE. I can discuss DC till the cows come home without discussing people's personal investigations and taking sides on that. I can do that. That's easy. I've done it. So I would have made the decision then as I would now that it's just not a topic I want to discuss on this channel ever in my chat or on the screen. I just didn't want to do it. More power to him. I hope he gets his justice. I hope he gets his whatever he is entitled to. I hope Ray Fisher gets it. That's not what I'm saying. I just don't think this show is ever a platform to have that discussion.
He's actually in a movie with Ben Affleck that he's
that's doing great. He's in plays. His career is doing fine. And if there's something relevant that we are covering that Ray Fisher comes up with, I would love to cover it. But I don't. If it's content. I want to cover Ray Fisher's content. I want to cover these actors' content. I don't want to get involved in all this other stuff because I've seen what it does to other channels. To be honest with you, and other channels have built like a shitload of viewers of doing things like that, and that's fine. I told you guys, if I got to build it like a fucking Lego statue, brick by brick, slower and slower, that's what I'll do. I would rather do that than have a conversation I don't want to have. I would rather stay at whatever we're at right now. We just stay there. And if you are enjoying the conversation, that's great. If you're not, then I'm not forcing you to be here. If you want to go somewhere and cover the TMT stuff, the sleeve stuff, the controversial stuff, there is a surplus of channels out there, and they're all got like millions of subscribers or whatever. I would rather you go there than hang out here. That's just all right.
His boss says, "Yeah, I like Beavis and Butthead movies." Corn Hollywood.
I got tired of those too. No, I don't. I wouldn't do that. I mean, like I said, we could.
You wouldn't watch party for the Blade Runner spinoff?
It's not a Blade Runner spinoff. It's not even a good movie. So no. I played that game in the 90s.
I played.
Came out in
I played for as big as I am at The Simpsons. I actually didn't play the video games that much, but I played.
Yeah, this was an actual arcade game, and you could have like a bunch of players on it, and you had. I mean, it had all the stuff that because it was 1990. 1990, I was still watching The Simpsons on a weekly basis. I was watching the Living Color since, and Fox had a nice lineup on Sunday. It's just as I got, the grown man in me, it was like I don't fucking need this anymore.
It's pretty much. I mean, the consensus is that, and that's what's interesting about the the sequel to the movie is the consensus is the Simpsons golden age really was the 90s, and then when the movie came out, that kind of a lot of people felt that was sort of like kind of like hard. It felt like it had hit that stride again with the movie, and so now we might get that again with the Simpsons too. So.
No.
Back.
I don't see me being anybody like that. I don't like gossip too. That's the word I'm looking for. I don't want this channel to ever get caught up in gossip that's not, entangled, because gossip changes its shape. It changes from one person to another, and it gets momentum. And once you open up that Pandora's box, you can't, and you look at your numbers and like, oh, this is giving me great numbers. And a lot of people are like, I just got to keep doing this. And I don't want to do things for that. I don't want to, I'm not saying I'm on a high horse or anything. It's just everybody starts their platform to do exactly, what they want to do. Everybody is behind their microphone and behind their camera to have the conversation that they want to have. I'm no different than any of those people. I started this to have the conversation I wanted to have. And that means I don't have to cover all these things. I am not a news, if I was a news channel and I didn't cover these things, then yeah, you'd have, I would be, that'd be kind of worthless, but I'm not. And I've said that over and over again. We're having the conversation same kind of conversation I would have in my story,
And you've never seen The Thing? Well, that's unfortunate, because The Thing is the great horror sci-fi movies of the 80s. It's definitely one of the best John Carpenter movies. We did a watch party for that and the prequel a couple months ago.
All right, the 4-hour AT&T conversation or the 4-hour HP. What do you, context?
You're gonna have to clarify that.
Yeah. Okay, so all right, I'm fine. You could be saying worse.
We're gonna hear right in a second here. We're gonna get like Stray Dog, and they're just going woof woof.
Or the actual Stray Brian Setzer from Stray Cry. All right, so that. But guys, going forward, if Ray Fisher is in something that we are covering, if he's any science fiction, horror, fantasy movie that we are covering, then we will go that. But we are not. I want people to have their due process wherever it is going. I want them to be able to address their issues in the right forms. My show is not one of them. So I don't know if I need to, I don't want to ban that name. I don't hate the guy or anything else. And I wish him all the well, but I just watched these certain conversations deteriorate people's channels. And I just don't want to do that.
Quick get some context, like which one would you like to have, the 4-hour AT&T conversation, 4-hour HP computer conversation?
The HP computer conversation would actually be more entertaining, because it you have a conversation that would start a whole bunch of other conversations. Hell, we can go to the TRS 80s and Tandy and the Radio Shack days and the whole, the Hewlett Packard, the birth of all that. We could go all the way up until Steve Jobs and Wozniak and all these other people. I mean, that HP conversation would turn into a very interesting conversation about computers in general. Whereas the AT&T conversation, those 3 letters piss me off, because they piss me off. Now, when you're talking about the AT&T, that conversation could go into Warner Brothers, it can go into a whole bunch of other things. But I actually hate AT&T as a company. So I don't know how long that conversation will last. Mm-hmm. And that conversation probably wouldn't be, it's like Cox. It's like having a Cox conversation. Ugh. I'll talk about those Steven motherfuckers. The conversations I have at Sci-Fi Center, I try not to have those when there's customers and stuff in the store, because that's just not, that's not their, It's not the weight that they should bear. I try to limit the kind of customers. I mean, a lot of the conversation I have at the Sci-Fi Center come from people walking in and seeing something, or they'll be wearing a shirt, or they'll look up at the picture and there's a picture of me with standing next to William Shatner. There's one with me standing next to Stan Lee. Those are instant starters, or they'll walk around and I'll see them pick up something. I try to keep the conversations to the context because, like, they came there to get away from all that. And I try to, if I and both of these platforms, I would like to be somewhere where you came to not to get away from certain these things. And when you step into my geek kingdom, I don't care what shitty day you had before you stepped in. I'm going to try to make it better. And I don't run from certain topics, but I know you're already weighed down by those topics. What's me adding a couple more pounds going to do for you? Let me take a little bit of it off. Yeah, I mean, we stream late at night, and yeah, it happens. It's fine, and I'm a strange one, so yeah, sure, yeah. But yeah, I mean, like I said, we're on the internet. We're open. People can come in. People who are up at weird. It's weirdos like me that are up at 1, 2 o'clock in the morning. So it is what it is. But let's see.
Aaron says he's research Futurama, King of the Hill, Family Guy, American Dad, and the Boondocks. And she also said up here, wait on the South Park sequel. I never really got that much into South Park, to be honest.
Neither did I. I applaud what they're doing, to be honest with you, and how long they've been doing. I applaud all these, even the Simpsons. You've been on the air for a long time. That's a long time.
I mean, I'm
just not interested.
Again, you say Math is undefeated, and the Simpsons has been going since Tracy Ullman in the 80s. So
there's a lot of good shows that have lasted a long time. I mean, fucking Carson was on the air for 30 years. I think I watched 30 minutes of him. So
people can talk about like declining quality, this or whatever. I mean, it's they're not. They don't. Fox doesn't keep greenlighting the show for more seasons for nothing.
They're not. No, it has a generational transferred audience. It's just that, like I said, and when I say I don't feel like talking about The Simpsons, it's just I don't care. I'm not saying it's not successful. I mean, you can't stay on the air like that and in a prime time Sunday slot where everything else around you is gone. I mean, you look at the slot that when I was interested, was watching The Simpsons, where in the mid '90s is when I'm like, this doesn't do it anymore. It was surrounded by In Living Color. It was surrounded by X-Files. It was surrounded by Married with Children. Look at what's still left. None of those shows are left. So that's an extraordinary achievement. I just don't care about The Simpsons, guys. It's just I don't care. It's white noise to me. It's like I don't care. I don't care that they're doing a movie. I don't care if they were doing a TV show. If Bart fucking Simpson fell through my roof right now, I would escort him out the door. I don't care about.
Don't have a cow, man.
I don't care. And there's just a certain. Listen, everybody has things they don't give a shit about, right? You all do. We all do. So how I just don't care. Sorry. That's Let's see, Gen V season 2. I have not got around to season 2 of Gen V. I need to though. Which cartoons do I watch? I watch a lot of the DC movie stuff, like The Killing Joke. I watch Creature Commandos. I watched it with you guys. If it's modern DC animation, I'll give it a shot. Most of it I'll give it a shot. I am trying to struggle to get through Marvel Zombies. And it's just a little bit much for me. I'm not the biggest. I'm a big fan of the animation style, but I will eventually finish watching that. Into the Spider-Verse is like some of the best, probably the best animation, best cartoon movie I've seen. But as far as like daily animation and things like that, and series and stuff like that, I don't get into series. I've outgrown the series. If you're gonna do something with me, it's going to be, if they're going to pique my interest as far as animation goes, it's going to have to be on a high scale, and it's going to have to be geared towards, adults for me. So I'm just not the market. No, I did not. It's the Coronation Street. Hello, I've been around for okay. I wouldn't mind it. I don't know if I'd watch it. I wouldn't mind them doing that because that would be, extending their audience, to a generation that does still watch, cartoons. I don't know where it would air because Warner Brothers doesn't seem to really, get behind animation. That'd be a conversation that Tony Khan would have to make if they were even on HBO Max because they don't have that kind of exclusively. I haven't seen Invincible. Oh, wait a minute. You're talking about, I'm sorry. Why did I think Incredible? See, I can't get other things out of my mind. Was not a fan of Invincible, the comic. So yeah, the story is exactly how the comic went. That's one of those adaptations that's pretty much beat for beat. And I didn't like the artwork. I didn't like how things looked. I didn't like the story. I didn't like anything about Invincible, so I never really grasped on to Invincible. I can see William being the most tolerant king of the hill out of the adult humor. I watched a little bit of it, but you got to realize I was at a different point in my life where I did just that kind of stuff. I was looking for something else. I was looking for different forms of entertainment.
It was when King of the Hill. I mean, it's like, was it like? It's not like officially a big Beavis and Butt like Daria was, but it's still. I mean, you can tell like the neighbor, like he's got the whole. It's very similar voice. Like, yeah, it's well. Good important thing is we travel across country to have a good butane ladder.
If they're following the story, which they are, if they're following the story from the comic books, and I didn't like the story there, I'm not gonna like it anywhere else. If I didn't like, and they're using the animation style the same. If you look at the comics, correct me, you look at the comics that came out like, wow, almost 22, 23 years ago. People think Invincibles is new. No, it's decades old. I didn't like the look. I didn't like the feel. I didn't like the story. So it's doubtful that I'm gonna, and I'm not saying it's bad. Okay, so don't equate with me not liking something with me thinking something is bad. It just wasn't for me, man. I have not seen Incredible, so I'm going to take your word for it. I agree. I think and I finished that original arc. That pissed me off. Actually, I really didn't like the way that was rolling out. So, but hey, let's see. Now, this is from coming. I read Invincible. I keep fixing them up. I read Invincible long before there was even a thought of a TV show. Invincible came out in like 2003, I think 2002, 2003. I remember that because it was an Image. It was one of the Image band when Image was going through their, in my opinion, their down point. Yeah, I didn't like the story. I didn't like the look. I didn't like any of it. So now we have a show about something I didn't like in its previous form that usually doesn't change, especially if it's a direct adaptation like that. So wasn't a fan, but if you guys enjoy it, that's awesome. I don't hate you. All right. Because the word invincible is not invisible, Drogo. I'm not even pulling up that. Never mind, dude. I don't know if that was a joke or are you just tired. I don't know. All right, guys. Well, tomorrow is Peacemaker episode 7, the penultimate chapter to this season, which ends with Peacemaker season 8, and we are, we've been hinted to a much larger effect that this will have on the rest of the DCU. I'm assuming it's an effect that will not have to directly do with Peacemaker because once again,
Peacemaker.
Yeah, you can't do that and then turn people and say, hey kids, let's watch Peacemaker. So I think it's going to be something that is detachable as far as it will happen in Peacemaker, but it can be explained universal. Looking for some cameos. Looking to see where this goes. This is go that, and I enjoy not knowing. If all my guests are wrong, I'm okay with that. If every guest I put out in regards to my predictions is wrong, that's good. That means they're doing a good job writing the show. It's like when I'm watching wrestling. If they swerve me, that's good. That means you did a good job booking. If somebody who's been watching this stuff for decades is like, oh shit, I didn't see that coming, that's when you know you're good. So I hope that's what happens over these next 2 episodes. That's what I hope happens in anything I pick up, read, or watch. I don't want things to be predictable. So I'd rather be wrong about a prediction than be right about a prediction. Because if a fucking bonehead like me can figure it out, All right. They should, because that last episode only had like 35 minutes.
He has confirmed that the final episode of the season will be a longer episode.
Okay, well, longer than 35 minutes. Am I getting a 40-minute episode, or am I getting an hour?
He didn't say how long. I mean, I would my guess from that would be probably in the hour range.
And then the crown jewel of Netflix for me right now, other than Mindhunter, is Stranger Things, which is I can't wait. I mean, we're a month away. We're a little bit more than a month, a little bit more because it's Thanksgiving until that gets released. So I will be watching things. I think Stranger Things season 4 was a masterclass in storytelling. I hope a lot of people who are in any level of storytelling, whether it be comic books, novels, cartoons, TV shows, series, I hope everybody sits down, whether you like the character, whether you were into it or not. It really didn't matter, because you could jump into season 4 and fall in love with those characters. They had characters that didn't exist in any of the previous seasons that were just there, that brought people to the store. And one of those guys, Eddie Munson, ended up being a role that a lot of people saw him in. And he's Human Torch. Now he was playing the Emperor and Gladiator 2, and he's in a lot of different things. So I cannot wait for Stranger Things Part 5. I hope once you have a season like they had in season 4, it's really hard to match that sometimes. It's X-Files. X-Files is a perfect example of that. After season 4 and midway through season 5 of X-Files, I was done with X-Files. I was ready for X-Files to be taken out back and said, hey, look over here. They can give a no yellow treatment, because you reach a point where the story that you've been interweaving your entire existence through, once you've told that story, now you're just throwing shit out there. And that's what X-Files was to me after season 4.5. Season 4 is the best season of X-Files. That if you ever wanted to get people into X-Files, you show them season 4 and let them decide whether they're going to watch seasons 1, 2, and 3, and whether they want to, bore themselves. And Robert Patrick was in that. Robert Patrick, Agent Doggett I consider that to be a waste of him. Mimi Rogers was in that. I consider that to be a waste of her. I tried to watch that series afterwards, and it was like, ugh. Binge, yeah. Well, you're a binge watcher. Yeah, I don't do. See, and it sucks for me because I don't binge watch, and then you got people who want to talk to me about shit. Oh, I watched all 8 episodes. I'm like, I can't fucking talk to you, dude. I mean, I didn't do the sugar rush. I gotta wait. I gotta block you right now until I'm done, because people like to watch everything. Like I said, I don't like the binge method. I think that needs to go away. I think Netflix would be a lot better off if it went away, because the conversation being prolonged adds to the value of the conversation and the content. So yeah, it really did. I mean, it was X-Files was painful to watch afterwards. So okie dokie. You got anything left? Get off your chest, Brad?
No.
I mean,
Oh yeah, the Furious. I'm really looking forward to that. So making the rounds in the Phillips.
I would edit that out. But the 4 of you that are actually going to care about that,
Dude,
I don't.
It's like, I'm telling you, man. It's like when that trailer wraps up, you're underestimating the buzz getting for all the film festivals. It's still got a few more.
No, Brad, I don't underestimate the buzz. I don't care. I don't care. That's it. That's the answer. It's not the quality. It's not what I think of it. I don't care. It's the fact that I don't think of it at all. All right. Let's see. Brad needs to watch Stranger Things. If he hasn't, I mean, I recommend.
I've seen through season 1, but I was like, I hadn't really finished through that point.
Yeah,
is this still going, or is it still?
It's still going. It's the 5th and final season. Is this year?
Really, 5th?
Yeah,
because it started like in 2016.
Started in 2016. Yeah, well, you got to realize it's a streaming. It's a very expensive streaming show. And it takes forever to get things.
Yeah, we did run into a pandemic in the middle of all that.
That too, and you're talking about like literally one of the most expensive shows Netflix ever done. So you have to. It takes time, and plus these people are doing other things. Especially Millie Bobby Brown got married to John Bon Jovi Jr. She's been in other things, on Netflix. And a lot. And as they were growing up, because this movie started when they were kids. Now they're growing up and getting different acting jobs. It's availability, but season 5 is coming out now. If it's anything new with season 4, like I said, season 4, you could take the character, if you could take the names of the characters out, and the structure that they told you made you care about everybody that you were on the screen. You went where they wanted you to go emotionally with those characters. Like I said, it is a masterclass of making you care about every character that you put on the screen. There are no throwaway characters in Stranger Things. I'll give you an example without spoiling it. Murray. When you first meet Murray in Stranger Things, Murray's a fucking joke that you're like, dude, get this guy off my screen. Trust me. He is important. And you will root for Murray. If those of you who watch the show, you know who I'm talking about, and you know what I'm talking about. There are storylines that start in season 4 that I'm like, fuck, are we just gonna? Is this gonna be shit that I gotta speed past? And there's one story in there that I thought that was gonna be the case, and it ends up strengthening the show. It ends up giving you one of the best moments of the entire series. So if you're not watching Stranger Things, I think you should. And that's all I can really tell you without spoiling for you. I don't know if we should do it because you're going to have a lot of people who haven't watched seasons 1, 2, 3, and 4. I don't think you need to personally, because like I said, there are certain things that I got brand new people on the Stranger Things with me during season 4 who went back and watched 1, 2, 3. They did the thing, but yeah. Season one opened the door and gave you a glimpse of where they were going to go with this show. Season 1 set the tone of everything that would happen. Season 1 is important to season 4 because the whole point of the whole point of the camaraderie in their friendship is the show. Yeah, there's monsters in there, there's interdimensional shit in there, but the crux of the show, the core of the show is their relationships, their friendships, and what they're willing to do for each other. That is consistent. Even if you don't like certain seasons, that is a consistency that is there in season 1, 2, 3, and it's damn sure they're in season 4. Season 4, it actually is perfected. So I would suggest Stranger Things for everyone. So all right, I'm glad I want you guys to watch Zodiac, Mindhunters, and this. If I broaden your horizons on any of these things, that is my goal. That makes the show for me. So for the 80 of you who are watching across all of our platforms, please like, subscribe, and come to the channel. I know a lot of you are watching on X right now. Here you go. It would really help out the channel, help the channel to grow in the ways that I think it should grow. In the directions I think it should grow. YouTube.com/at the Sci-Fi Center. This is a conversation that I have on a nightly basis, and you are invited to it. All right, we will see you tomorrow at about 11:30 for Peacemaker season 2, episode 7. Good night, or good morning.
Yeah, see you guys then.
See, fucking StreamYard, dude. That is clearly not what I had my goddamn cursor on. That is clearly not. I see the 30 from that. So what am I going to get when I push the outro?
I'm
I'm afraid.
Mushroom cloud, maybe.